The janitor's hand clamped over her mouth before Kendra Phillips could scream. "Shut up! Don't say a word." His voice cut through the night air outside her own front door. 8:30 p.m., 2 hours earlier than her usual return, her keys still trembling in her hand. Through the window behind them, 2 shadows moved inside her darkened living room. Brett Hayes held her against the brick wall, his maintenance uniform smelling of cleaning solution and something else. Urgency. Fear. Protection. He was supposed to be checking outdoor lights. She was supposed to be safe in her $1-million estate. But the CEO who built her empire on control had just lost all of it in 3 seconds, pressed against a stranger who knew her schedule better than she did. The question burning in her chest wasn't why he grabbed her. It was how he knew they were waiting inside. Brett's grip tightened as Kendra's body went rigid with panic. His other hand pressed against the small of her back, steering her away from the door. The motion sensor light flickered, casting their shadows across the lawn. Her heels scraped against concrete as she stumbled. Brett's jaw was set hard, his eyes tracking the movements inside through the curtains. Every muscle in his body spoke of controlled violence, of someone who knew exactly what danger looked like. "Listen to me carefully." His voice dropped to barely a whisper. "Those men inside have been there for 20 minutes. They're not here to rob you. They're waiting for you specifically." Kendra's heart hammered. Brett's hand slowly released her mouth, but his arm remained firm around her waist. She could feel his pulse against her back, smell the laundry detergent on his worn shirt. This was the man who emptied her trash bins, who she'd never looked at twice in 6 months. Now, he was the only thing standing between her and whatever waited inside. "Who are you?" Kendra's voice came out hoarse. Brett's eyes never left the window. "Right now, I'm someone pretending to be your boyfriend, who's pissed you came home late without calling." His tone shifted, became louder. 2 hours, Kendra. 2 hours I've been waiting because you said you'd be home by 6. A shadow crossed behind the curtain, then retreated. Brett continued, his voice rising. "You can't keep doing this, coming home whenever you feel like it." Kendra's mind caught up. The intruders thought she wasn't alone. She made her voice shake. "I'm sorry. I got caught up at work." "You're always caught up at work!" Brett's shout echoed across the cul-de-sac. The back door creaked open. 2 figures emerged from the side yard, moving quickly but not running. They wore dark clothing, faces obscured by baseball caps. One carried a laptop bag. They disappeared around the corner, footsteps fading. Brett held Kendra for another minute before releasing her. She stumbled, legs weak. She turned to face him properly for the first time, seeing sharp intelligence in his eyes that contradicted his janitor's uniform. His face was weathered, early 40s, with a thin scar running from his eyebrow into his hairline. "Don't call 911 yet." Brett's command stopped her. "Those men disabled your security cameras at 8:15. They knew you usually come home between 11 and midnight. You came home early and ruined their timeline." Kendra's CEO instincts kicked in. "How do you know when the cameras were disabled?" Brett's expression didn't change. "I watched the security feeds from the maintenance office. Your camera went dark. I came to investigate. Saw them entering through your back door. They picked your lock in under 30 seconds. Professional. Planned." Kendra's hand tightened around her phone. "Then we call the police now." "And tell them what?" 2 men broke in and left without taking anything visible. No forced entry evidence, no security footage, no witnesses who saw their faces. Brett's logic was sound. By the time police process the scene, whoever sent them will have cleaned up every trace. "Their operation," Kendra repeated slowly. "You think this is bigger than a simple break-in?" Brett's silence was answer enough. Her tailored suit suddenly felt too tight. This was supposed to be her safe space. The gated community, the security system, all of it supposed to guarantee safety. "I need to see what they were doing inside." She moved toward her door, but Brett gripped her elbow. "Not yet. We wait 15 minutes. Make sure they're really gone. His tactical thinking unsettled her. Who are you, really? Brett's jaw tightened. I'm exactly what you see. A single dad who empties trash and fixes broken lights. His voice had gone flat. But I used to be a detective. Things that taught me how to read a crime scene, spot surveillance, know when someone's being set up. He stepped back. I left that life 3 years ago. I have a 7-year-old son who needs a father who comes home every night. The confession hung heavy. Kendra studied his profile, the way his shoulders carried invisible weight, the tremor in his left hand. This man was dangerous in ways that had nothing to do with violence. Detective. She said it quietly. Brett's mouth quirked. Was. Past tense. Now I'm just Brett Hayes. Overnight maintenance, single dad. He checked his phone. 14 more minutes. Then we go inside together. You don't touch anything. Kendra bristled. It's my house. And someone just violated it, in a way that suggests they know you very well. Brett's tone sharpened. Someone timed this perfectly. They knew your schedule down to the hour. They disabled exactly the right camera. This isn't random, Ms. Phillips. This is personal. Probably connected to your company. The words landed like blows. Phillips Tech had been her baby for 8 years, built to a $50 million company. The upcoming merger would triple that valuation. But breaking into her home crossed every line. The merger, Kendra's mind raced. We're 2 weeks from signing. If someone wanted to sabotage it, they'd need evidence of impropriety. Financial records I keep at home. Anything they could spin into scandal. Brett nodded. What would they find? She met his eyes. Nothing. I've been obsessively careful. Everything runs through corporate counsel. But doubt crept in. There were emails on her personal laptop, conversations with her CFO that might look suspicious out of context. My laptop. If they accessed it, then we need to know what they copied before they use it. Brett's detective instincts kicked in. But we do this smart. No police report tonight. That tips them off. Better they think their plan worked. Kendra's phone buzzed. A text from her CFO, Jennifer Lang. Where are you? Left at 6:15. It's almost 9. Not like you. Cold understanding washed over her. Someone's tracking me. Jennifer knows I left early. She texted exactly when she knew I should be home. Brett leaned over to read. How many people have access to your calendar? My assistant, my CFO, my head of security, and the board. Kendra typed a casual response. Home safe. See you tomorrow. She looked at Brett. Jennifer's been my best friend since college. We built this company together, which makes her perfect to have access to everything. Brett's cynicism cut through denial. I'm not saying it's her, but consider everyone with means, motive, and opportunity. He checked the time. 15 minutes. Let's see what they left behind. The front door swung open with a soft click. Brett entered first, his body coiled and alert. He moved through her entryway without sound, scanning corners. The marble floors gleamed, her art collection undisturbed. Everything looked exactly as she'd left it. But the air felt different, violated. Brett checked each room, gesturing for her to stay back. The living room, pristine. The kitchen, untouched. Her home office on the second floor made her heart stop. The laptop sat where she'd left it, but the angle was wrong, rotated maybe 2 inches. The stack of files had been moved, edges no longer aligned. They imaged your hard drive. Brett crouched beside the desk. Your laptop's been unplugged and plugged back in. They needed it off to bypass your login, probably booted from an external drive to copy everything. He straightened, grim. Professional data theft. They now have every file, every email, every document you've touched in years. Kendra felt the room tilt. Months of work, strategy sessions, private conversations about merger terms, all compromised. She sank into her chair, calculating the damage. They can manipulate anything. Take emails out of context, forge documents, create evidence of embezzlement or insider trading. Brett nodded. And they'll wait until the most damaging moment, maybe the day before the merger signs. Maximum chaos. Then we find them first. Kendra's voice steadied. You said you used to do this. I need you to do it again. Brett shook his head. No, I left that world. I have a son. Who needs his father to keep a job? Kendra faced him directly. If I go down, Phillips Tech goes down, and the security contract for this community gets canceled. You'll lose your position. She hated the manipulation, but desperation made her ruthless. Help me find who did this, and I'll make sure you and your son are protected. Brett's jaw worked, anger and respect flashing in his eyes. You don't fight fair. I fight to win, with or without your help, but it'll be faster with you. The silence stretched. Finally, Brett exhaled. 48 hours. 2 days to figure out who's behind this. After that, we go to police regardless. Because sitting on evidence makes us both liable. He pulled out his phone. I need to call my neighbor about Cole. Then we start building a suspect list. Kendra felt relief tangled with guilt. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Brett moved to the door. This kind of investigation destroys things. Friendships, trust, comfortable lies about people around you. By the time we find the truth, you might wish we'd just called the cops. His words echoed after he left. Kendra looked at her office. The degrees, the awards, the photos. All of it felt fragile suddenly. Brett returned with a duffel bag and equipment that looked too sophisticated for a janitor. Cole set. He unzipped the bag, revealing a laptop and hard drives. First, we secure your systems, change every password, enable two-factor authentication. Then we analyze communications, financial records, anyone with unusual access. He glanced up. And you tell me about everyone in your inner circle, not the sanitized version, the real version. Their debts, problems, secrets. Kendra pulled up a chair. Jennifer Lang, CFO. We met freshman year at Stanford. Brilliant with numbers, ambitious but loyal. At least I thought she was. Brett opened a spreadsheet. Any money problems? Kendra thought back. She bought a Tesla 6 months ago. I thought it was extravagant, but she said she'd been saving. Brett made notes. Easy to check. Relationship issues. Messy divorce last year. Her ex-husband was demanding more in the settlement. They had a teenage daughter caught in the middle. Kendra's chest tightened. These were her friend's vulnerabilities. Now she was laying them out like evidence. Brett sensed her discomfort but didn't soften. Someone already betrayed you. We're trying to figure out who. He moved on. Who else has access to your calendar and security codes? My assistant, Troy Watson. 3 years with me. Organized, discreet. She pulled up Troy's file. Late 20s, downtown apartment, has a boyfriend in marketing. Financial stress? Recent raise requests? Kendra shook her head. He's always seemed comfortable. Brett pulled up a database. We will now. Next name. Randall Foster, head of security. Former military. 45. Married with 2 kids. He recommended my home security system. She paused. He'd know exactly how to disable it. Brett's expression sharpened. Interesting. His relationship with your CFO? Professional. They interact about protocols, but I've never seen them socialize. But Kendra remembered a company party 3 months ago. Jennifer and Randall in the corner, heads bent close. She'd assumed they were discussing security. Now every interaction felt suspect. Brett worked in silence, pulling up records, building digital connections. Finally, he sat back, troubled. Your CFO Jennifer has been moving money. Small amounts, buried in expense reports. Over 18 months, she skimmed approximately $200,000. Kendra felt the words like a blow. That's impossible. I review every quarterly report. She's good. Brett turned the laptop toward her, showing highlighted transactions. Payments to consulting firms that don't exist. Addresses registered to mail forwarding services. Invoices perfectly formatted. Vague enough to pass scrutiny. She's building a nest egg, probably planning to disappear once the merger goes through. The evidence was damning. Kendra stared at her best friend's name, feeling something break inside her chest. Why break into my house if she's already stealing? Kendra pushed through emotion. What does she gain? Brett's fingers drummed, thinking. Insurance. She knows you're meticulous. Eventually, you'd catch the discrepancies, or merger due diligence would uncover them. She needs leverage to keep you quiet. If she has evidence of impropriety on your part, real or manufactured, she can threaten to expose you if you expose her. The strategy was elegant, ruthless. But she couldn't do this alone. The break-in required technical skill, knowledge of my schedule, home security access. Which brings us back to Randall Foster. Brett pulled up another file. Your head of security has gambling debts, $50,000 to offshore sports betting, another $20,000 in credit cards. He's desperate, which makes him useful to someone like Jennifer, who needs technical expertise. Kendra paced her kitchen. The countertops that had represented success now felt like set pieces. We need proof, evidence connecting Jennifer to the break-in and to Randall. We need them to make a mistake. Brett leaned back, and Kendra saw the detective he used to be. Jennifer thinks her plan worked. We use that confidence against her. He outlined his strategy. Plant false information in Kendra's laptop, something too tempting for Jennifer to resist. Set up a meeting where that information comes up naturally. Watch Jennifer's reaction. If she's working with Randall, she'll need to communicate. We monitor her communications, catch them coordinating. Brett's plan was risky but logical. How long until they use what they copied? Based on the merger timeline, they'll wait until a week before signing. Maximum damage. Brett checked his calendar. That gives us 12 days. We move faster than they expect. Kendra nodded, already planning. I'll create a fake financial document, something that looks like I've been funneling money offshore. Detailed enough to be believable, damaging enough that Jennifer won't resist using it. Access it from your home laptop several times. Make it look like you're actively hiding something. Brett stood, gathering equipment. Can you act normally around her? No suspicion. No changes in behavior? I've been performing for investors and board members for 8 years. Kendra's voice hardened. I can handle one more audience. Brett paused at the door, his expression softening slightly. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. Losing trust in someone close to you, it's one of the worst kinds of pain. Something in his tone made Kendra ask, Is that what happened to you? Why you left detective work? His jaw tightened. My wife. She was my partner, in every sense. We worked cases together. Then one day, she took a bullet meant for me during a raid. His voice went flat. She died 3 days later from complications. Cole was 4 years old. He asked when Mommy was coming home, and I had to tell him never. Kendra felt her throat constrict. I quit that week. Couldn't look at another crime scene. Couldn't trust my judgment anymore. If I couldn't protect my own wife, how could I protect anyone else? The confession hung between them, raw. Thank you for doing this anyway. Don't thank me until we finish. Brett opened the door. Between now and then, act normal. Go to work, pretend everything's fine. And Kendra? Don't trust anyone. After he left, Kendra stood alone, feeling isolation settle over her. Every handshake felt suspect, every smile potentially fake. The next morning, Kendra arrived at Phillips Tech at 6:30. She powered up her compromised laptop and began creating her trap. The fake financial document took 3 hours to perfect. She backdated transactions, created email chains with fictional offshore consultants, built a paper trail that looked damning. Every keystroke felt like planting a landmine. If this went wrong, if Jennifer exposed the fake documents before Kendra could prove they were fabricated, the merger would collapse and her career would be finished. Troy knocked at 9 with her coffee. "You're in early. Everything okay?" His concern seemed genuine, but she couldn't tell anymore. "Fine. Just wanted to get ahead of the day." She accepted the coffee, noting how his eyes flickered to her laptop screen. Had he always done that? "Any changes to my schedule?" "Jennifer pushed your 10 o'clock to 11. Something about merger financials." Troy consulted his tablet. "And Randall wants 15 minutes this afternoon to discuss security upgrades." The mention of both suspects couldn't be coincidence. "Tell Randall I can see him at 3. And let Jennifer know I want to review those financials personally before the board meeting." Jennifer arrived at 11 with documents, looking tired. Dark circles under eyes, hair in a messy bun. Guilt or exhaustion? "You look like you've been pulling all-nighters." Kendra kept her tone concerned. "I'm fine. Just want everything perfect for the merger." Jennifer spread documents across the table. For the next hour, they worked through numbers together. Jennifer's explanations were flawless. If Kendra hadn't seen the embezzlement evidence, she'd never suspect anything. That was the most disturbing part. How easily someone maintained a mask while destroying you. "How are things with your ex?" Kendra asked, watching carefully. "Getting easier?" Jennifer's smile was tight. "He's demanding more money, as usual. Mediation for another 6 months. The legal fees are killing me." There it was, the financial pressure. Kendra felt sympathy despite everything. Jennifer had been trapped by circumstances, made desperate. "If you need an advance on your bonus, we can arrange that." Jennifer's eyes flickered with something before her mask settled. "That's generous, but I'll manage. The merger bonus will sort everything out." She gathered documents. "I should get these to the due diligence team. Still good for the board presentation Friday?" "Absolutely." Kendra watched her disappear down the hallway. Randall Foster arrived at 3 precisely, military bearing evident. "Thanks for making time, Miss Phillips." He pulled out a tablet. "I wanted to discuss enhanced security for the new office space after the merger. Biometric access, encrypted servers, 24-hour monitoring." Kendra listened as he outlined proposals. All of it made sense, which made it harder to believe this man had robbed her. As he spoke, Kendra studied him, looking for nervousness, guilt. She saw only professional competence. "One more thing." Randall hesitated, and Kendra saw a crack. "I wanted to apologize for the security camera glitch at your residence 2 nights ago. Power surge in the neighborhood knocked out several systems. We've upgraded the backup battery." The lie was smooth. If she hadn't known the truth, she'd have accepted it without question. "No problem. These things happen." Kendra smiled, letting him think she believed him. After Randall left, she texted Brett. "Both suspects contacted today. Jennifer mentioned needing money. Randall lied about the camera outage." Brett's response: "Good." "They're nervous. Access your fake offshore documents tonight from home. We need them to see you're actively using those files." That evening, Kendra performed for an invisible audience. She opened the fabricated financial documents, made edits, saved them with updated timestamps. Theater, designed to convince Jennifer these files were real. Brett arrived at 10, exhausted. "Sorry, had to actually do my job today." He dropped into her couch. Being a janitor is harder than detective work. Despite everything, Kendra smiled. "Want coffee?" "Please. And food, if you have it." She ordered Thai delivery while Brett set up his laptop. "Your home network has been pinged 4 times since this morning. Someone's definitely keeping tabs." He showed her access attempts from a commercial VPN. "Can you trace it?" Kendra leaned over his shoulder. Not directly, but I can see what files they're accessing. Look, he highlighted an entry. They attempted to access your fake offshore documents 3 times today. Someone's very interested. The next morning, Kendra composed the audit email Brett had suggested. Team, as we approach merger finalization, I'm initiating a comprehensive internal financial audit. Standard practice for the combined entity. The audit begins next week, covering the last 3 fiscal years. Jennifer will coordinate. Best, Kendra. She hit send at 8:30, then watched her inbox. Jennifer's response came at 9:15, carefully worded, but Kendra could read the panic. Happy to coordinate? Just to clarify scope, operational expenses, R&D, or comprehensive, including executive compensation and contractor relationships? The question was a probe. Trying to figure out if Kendra suspected something specific, Kendra replied, Comprehensive. Merger team wants complete transparency. Let's meet this afternoon to discuss timeline. Troy knocked at 10. Jennifer's asking if she can move your afternoon meeting to tomorrow. Says she has a migraine. Of course, she needed time to figure out her next move. Tell her that's fine, but I need preliminary audit documents by Thursday end of day. Board meeting Friday, and I want to review everything. After Troy left, she texted Brett. Fish has taken the bait. She's panicking. The waiting was torture. Kendra went through her day mechanically. Conference calls, review sessions, lunch meeting. All of it felt surreal, like she was watching herself from outside her body. That evening, Brett texted, Don't go home tonight. Jennifer just bought lockpicks, glass cutter, other tools at a hardware store. She's planning another break-in, probably tonight. Wants to destroy evidence or plant something worse. Kendra's blood went cold. Where should I go? Hotel. Use cash. Don't use your real name. Turn off phone location. I'll watch your house. Catch her in the act. She grabbed her laptop and clothes, told Troy she was leaving for a personal appointment, and drove to a budget hotel. She paid cash, registered under a fake name, sat on the scratchy bedspread feeling like a fugitive. Around midnight, Brett called from a blocked number. She's here. Not alone. Randall's with her. And one more person I don't recognize yet. Inside now. I've got video of the break-in. They came prepared. Proper tools, clearly planned. What are they doing? Kendra's hands shook. Planting something. Looks like drugs. Cocaine, based on the packaging. In your bedroom closet, behind shoes. Classic frame job. They'll tip off police with an anonymous call, get you arrested right before the merger. Company in chaos, you're facing charges. Jennifer steps in as interim CEO and completes the merger on her terms. Brett's voice was cold with fury. But they made one mistake. They don't know I'm watching. When they leave, I'm calling this in. Real police, real report, real evidence. This ends tonight. Kendra felt dizzy with adrenaline. Do it. One thing first. The third person just walked into the light. It's Troy, your assistant. The betrayal cut deep. Troy, who'd brought her coffee every morning, who'd seemed so trustworthy. He'd been helping Jennifer all along, feeding information about Kendra's schedule. How long? Kendra's voice broke. Based on what I can see, at least 6 months. He's the one who disabled your security the first time. Former military IT specialist. He knows systems inside and out. Brett was quiet. I'm sorry. I know this isn't easy. Just stop them. She ended the call, unable to hold herself together. Tears came hot and angry, mourning not just betrayal but her own blindness. Her phone buzzed. Police are on the way. Your visitors are going to have a surprise. Stay where you are until I call again. You're safe. The next hour crawled by. Finally, Brett called. It's done. Jennifer, Randall, and Troy are in custody. Police caught them red-handed with planted drugs and equipment from the previous break-in hidden in Randall's truck. They're all pointing fingers, trying to cut deals. When can I come home? Tomorrow morning. Give police time to process the scene. But Kendra, Jennifer started screaming about how you're a fraud, how you've been embezzling through offshore accounts. She tried to show police your fake financial documents as proof. Brett's tone shifted. We need to get ahead of this. Police will investigate her claims. So we tell them the truth. The documents were fake, created as bait. I'll show them my real financials. Submit to any audit. Kendra felt exhaustion dragging at her. I have nothing to hide. Good. Get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be a long day. The next morning, Kendra returned to her house surrounded by police and investigators. Brett met her at the door, looking like he hadn't slept. They got everything. Full confessions from Troy and Randall. Partial from Jennifer. The DA's building a case for conspiracy, breaking and entering, attempted evidence planting, embezzlement. Serious prison time. Kendra walked through her house with new eyes. Every room had been violated. What happens now? You cooperate fully, provide all financial records, submit to interviews, be transparent. Brett followed her into the kitchen. The merger team will need briefing. This is going to create complications. Complications? Kendra laughed bitterly. My CFO tried to frame me for drug possession. I'd say that's more than complications. Brett took the coffee pot gently from her shaking hands. This isn't your failure. They made a choice to betray your trust. You didn't do this. They did. The next 3 hours were brutal. Kendra called each board member, explaining the situation with professional detachment. Some were supportive, others skeptical. One suggested she step down until the investigation concluded. She fought that suggestion hard, making clear she was the victim. By noon, the story had leaked. Her phone exploded with calls from reporters, investors, analysts. Phillips Tech's stock dropped 15% before trading was halted. Brett watched her handle it all with quiet admiration. She moved through the crisis like a general commanding troops, delegating, managing narratives, projecting confidence even as her world fell apart. By evening, she'd stabilized the damage. The merger team issued a statement of support. The board scheduled an emergency Monday meeting. Her PR firm crafted a response, emphasizing her cooperation with law enforcement. You're good at this, Brett said quietly. At crisis management, most people would have fallen apart. I did fall apart. Kendra gestured at her wrinkled clothes, the takeout containers. You just didn't see it. Falling apart while still moving forward is a skill. He stood, collecting things. I need to get home to Cole. Call me if you need anything. After he left, Kendra stood alone in her kitchen, feeling silence press down. She'd poured everything into Phillips Tech, and now she realized how dangerous that was. When your entire identity is your company, attacks on the company become attacks on your soul. The weekend passed in legal consultations and damage control. Monday's board meeting was tense, hostile, full of questions she couldn't fully answer. But she held her ground, presenting evidence of her innocence and Jennifer's guilt. The vote at the end was 6-4 in favor of keeping her as CEO pending investigation conclusion. It was a qualified victory, but enough. The merger proceeded cautiously. The due diligence team conducted their own investigation, verified Kendra's records. After 3 weeks of intensive scrutiny, they concluded Jennifer's crimes were isolated and didn't reflect systemic problems. The merger would proceed with enhanced oversight. Kendra signed the papers on a Tuesday morning, her hand steady despite exhaustion. Phillips Tech was now part of a larger entity, her startup dream transformed. She should have felt triumphant. Instead, she felt empty. Over the following months, Kendra rebuilt. She hired a new CFO, implemented stronger financial controls, restructured her team with people she personally vetted. She also made changes in her personal life, joined a book club, started taking weekends off, hired a therapist to work through trust issues. Slowly, She learned to open herself to connection again. Brett remained a constant presence. They developed an unlikely friendship, the CEO and the janitor, meeting occasionally for coffee, talking about everything except work. It was the kind of relationship that didn't fit neat categories, built on mutual respect and shared trauma. Jennifer's trial made headlines. The evidence was overwhelming. Embezzlement, conspiracy, attempted fraud, 8 years in federal prison. Randall got 6 years. Troy, who'd cooperated fully, got 3 years and probation. Kendra attended the sentencing, needing to see justice served. When Jennifer was let out in handcuffs, their eyes met. Kendra saw no remorse, only bitter anger. It was final confirmation she'd been right to fight back. A year after the break-in, Kendra hosted a small company barbecue at her house. Her new executive team, trusted employees, and Brett with Cole. She'd never mixed personal and professional life before, but her therapist had encouraged it. Cole was teaching guests about dinosaurs, his enthusiasm infectious. Brett was manning the grill. The evening light cast everything in warm gold. Kendra's house no longer felt violated. It was just a home again, filled with laughter. She'd recovered what had been stolen, not just her company, but her sense of safety, her ability to trust. "You look happy." Brett appeared with a soda. "I was just thinking about how different things are from a year ago." Kendra watched the party. "This time last year, I was working 16-hour days wondering who was stabbing me in the back. Now, I have actual friends. It's strange. Good strange or bad strange. Definitely good," she smiled. "I never thanked you properly. Not just for the investigation, but for showing me what I was missing. Connection. Real relationships. A life outside work." Brett clinked his can against hers. "You did the hard part yourself. I just gave you a push." They stood in comfortable silence, watching Cole chase fireflies. Kendra had built an empire, survived a conspiracy, and come out stronger. But this moment, standing in her backyard with people who genuinely cared, felt like the real victory. Later that night, cleaning up, Kendra found herself thinking about Jennifer, not with anger anymore, but sadness. They'd been friends once, before ambition and desperation twisted everything. There was a lesson there about how pressure corrupted, how financial stress pushed people to rationalize terrible choices. She didn't forgive Jennifer, but she understood her a little better. The next day, Kendra implemented a new program at the merged company, financial counseling and emergency assistance for employees facing hardship. If someone was drowning in debt or crisis, she wanted to know before they became desperate enough to make destructive choices. It was small, probably wouldn't prevent all betrayals, but it might prevent some. 3 years after the break-in, Kendra stepped down as CEO, not because of scandal, but because she was ready for something different. She'd built and sustained a successful company, survived betrayal, proven everything she'd needed to prove. Now she wanted to explore other definitions of success. She joined nonprofit boards focused on financial literacy and employee welfare. She taught business ethics at the university, sharing her story as a case study in resilient leadership. She wrote a book about building sustainable organizations where people didn't feel desperate enough to commit crimes. And she spent time with the people who mattered, Brett and Cole, her book club, her executive team who'd become family. On a Tuesday evening, her phone buzzed with Brett's text. "Cole got into MIT, full scholarship, mechanical engineering, celebrating with pizza if you want to join." Kendra smiled, texting back immediately, "On my way. I'll bring dessert." As she drove to Brett's apartment, she reflected on the unexpected gift Jennifer's betrayal had given her. Not the betrayal itself, that had been traumatic and damaging, but the breaking open it had forced, the rebuilding it had required, the perspective it had provided. She'd learned that the people you underestimate might save your life. That vulnerability can be strength. That success means nothing if you have no one to share it with. She'd learned that you could survive betrayal and come out stronger, not by hardening yourself, but by choosing more carefully who you let close. That discernment was different from cynicism. Most importantly, she'd learned that she was more than her title, more than her company, more than her achievements. She was a friend, a mentor, a member of a community. She was someone who'd made mistakes and learned from them, who'd been knocked down and gotten back up. When she arrived at Brett's apartment, Cole greeted her, taller now than both his father and Kendra, on the verge of adulthood. "You came. Dad made his famous pizza, which means it's slightly burned, but we'll pretend it's perfect." Sounds exactly right. Kendra hugged him, grateful for this family she'd found in disaster's aftermath. They ate pizza and celebrated Cole's acceptance. They talked about his dreams of designing sustainable infrastructure, Brett's plans to visit his in-laws, Kendra's nonprofit work. Normal conversation, without drama or crisis. Just three people who'd found each other through unexpected circumstances and chosen to keep showing up. As Kendra prepared to leave, Brett walked her to her car. The night was cool. Stars visible. "You know what's funny," Brett said. "That night I pulled you from your door, I thought I was saving you from a break-in. I had no idea I was starting a friendship that would change both our lives. Mine especially." Kendra leaned against her car. "You gave me back my life, not just by stopping Jennifer, but by showing me what I was missing. Real connection. Real trust." "You did the same for me," Brett said quietly. "After my wife died, I was just existing. You reminded me I had value beyond being a dad and a janitor, that my skills mattered, that I could still make a difference." They stood in comfortable silence, the kind that only exists between people who've been through fire together. As Kendra drove home, she felt profound gratitude for the life she'd built from betrayal's rubble. It wasn't the life she'd planned or expected. It was better, messier, more complicated, infinitely more real. She parked in her driveway, looking at the front door that had once been the site of terror. Now it was just a door, leading to a home filled with memories of laughter and friendship and hard-won peace. She unlocked it without fear, stepped inside without hesitation, and knew with certainty that she was exactly where she was supposed to be. The CEO who'd needed a janitor to save her had become a woman who'd saved herself, with help from unexpected friends who'd shown her what really mattered. Not the corner office or the merger deal or the awards, but the connections forged in crisis, the trust rebuilt brick by brick, the life constructed on foundations of authenticity rather than perfection. She'd lost a company she'd built single-handedly and gained a community she'd built with others. She'd lost the illusion of control and gained the reality of resilience. She'd lost false friends and gained true ones. In the arithmetic of betrayal and recovery, she'd come out ahead. And that, more than any business success, was worth celebrating.